What's the meanest thing you can think of? Lighting a building on fire.
And littering.
And littering. Yes.
Okay. You looking at yourself in the mirror?
Yeah.
How do you look?
I look pretty good.
Hi guys, I'm Hannah.
I'm Sadie.
And we're not straight. And today we want to talk about sexuality. Like sexual orientation, attraction.
Woo! The good stuff?
The good stuff. How is it defined? And if it's defined, are they right? Can they be right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I looked up the definition, and apparently sexual orientation is a way to express people that you are attracted to, or things that you're attracted to. No judgment. You
None?
gonna comment on that?
No judgment.
Maybe a little judgment. So, by that definition, it kind of boils down to attraction, which attraction can be formed by many things. It can be, people say it's like, oh, gut instinct, but that could be smells, that's like pheromones, that could be your primal instinct to want to marry someone who has good birthing hips, like...
Yeah. I want you to keep it... She just explained all of this to me and her eyes were so wide.
Okay, I was reading this report of a study that was done in a lab, and they had these pictures.
That's what I'm talking about.
They had these pictures of people's faces and two groups, one control group and one experimental group, and they showed these people's faces with personality traits beside them, either positive or negative, like kind, funny, or like mean, rude. Exact same pictures though, same faces. And then asked people to judge their attractiveness, and they were different based on the listing of personality traits. So I've always thought that I'm more attracted to people the more I get to know them. Mm-hmm. And alternatively, once I get to know someone, if I am not a fan of their personality, I'm no longer attracted to them.
Yeah. Like when you said people's answers varied so greatly based on the personality traits, I was kind of like, well, yeah, obviously you don't want to have someone around who's rude.
Yeah.
But if we're just thinking about like general attractiveness,
yeah,
and whether you find someone attractive, it but I wouldn't think that it would matter whether their personality were like one that's like agreeable or not, or one that you like or not.
Yeah.
But it sounds like people have, like, those two things are really tied together.
Yeah.
Essentially. I felt like that too. Like, I was once asked, like, do you ever see someone on the street and you just think, like, yeah, like, I would have sex with that person? And I was like, no. Like, I don't think that.
So we've gotten a lot of comments recently about sexuality, about what it means to be bisexual. People thinking that maybe they're all the way gay or maybe are still a little bit attracted to men. So we basically wanted to dive into it and see what we mean when we say things like that. And we don't really think that there's a right or wrong way to think about any of this, but it seems like worth discussing.
Discussing it in general is just really helpful to understand yourself, and it gives you like language to be able to reflect on your own sexuality or your own like attractions and what they might mean for you.
Yeah.
And with the knowledge that like whatever attractions you experience to other people, like it doesn't matter what those are, like they're all valid, and every feeling that you have is valid, and it doesn't matter whether you can categorize it like cleanly and say like I'm gay or I'm straight or I'm bi or I'm whatever. Like you can, like whatever category or non-category you find yourself in. Stop. Whatever category or non-category you find yourself in, we're here for that.
Yeah, we're here for all of it. And that goes without saying for any like gender orientation or sexual orientation.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just don't have the language to express what you mean. And there's a lot of language out there that I don't know yet. We joke about this a lot. There are all these terms that we're not yet familiar with.
We're learning. So if you have things that you think that we should learn, please
put
them in the comments. We're definitely not interested in being exclusionary with our language, but I think that we tend to be often because we just don't know how to express everything yet.
Yeah, we talk about what we know.
Yeah. So yeah.
Okay, so with all that said, back to the idea of seeing someone and immediately being sexually attracted to them. Does that happen to some people more than others? And if so, why?
Why and who are they? And like what does that mean something about whether they're attracted to certain people or not? Like I don't feel attracted to people who I don't think I would get along with.
Yeah.
Like I have to know someone first. Like I can see someone and say like, yeah, they're like objectively like
beautiful or hot.
Yeah, good looking or whatever, but I don't like a person can be attractive without me being attracted to them. I think that's like an important distinction.
True.
Like,
I've thought about that a lot. Sorry, is it okay if I cut you off?
Yeah.
I've thought about that a lot in the context of being bisexual. Like the difference between thinking someone is attractive and personally being attracted to them.
Yeah.
I'm still not sure that I have it nailed down. And I eventually kind of decided that I was going to be with a person who I wanted to spend my time, my life, my days with. So it wasn't even like the first criteria that I want to have sex with them. And I don't know if that is what it should be anyway. And I think that I fall for people and become more and more sexually attracted to people as I get to know them better. So it feels like the reverse to me. Like I'm attracted first to someone's personality and then later more.
Yeah. And I think the reverse can be true too. Like I think I think like you said it shouldn't necessarily be that you're attracted to someone and therefore you want to get to know them, but I think that it can be a helpful like stepping stone to like see someone and find them attractive and be like, whoa, I want to talk to that person. Yeah. And then you talk to the person and then you can make a more informed decision. Because personality is really important. But I also think that you can be attracted to people and not be interested in them. I think that is something that as people are like figuring out sexuality and like experiencing different types of attraction and trying to understand those, it can be really confusing to think like, I find that person attractive, but I have no interest. Or I'm really, really drawn to this person, but I don't think I'm attracted to them. Like I've talked about this in several videos, like I always felt myself like really drawn to like my female friends.
I was just thinking about that.
And having really close female friendships, and I think that was attraction, but I didn't have a label for it because it was like personality or like emotional attraction, not physical. And so it was really hard for me to reconcile that. Obviously it took me 29 years, honestly.
Yeah.
Well, probably less. I don't think I was like thinking about that when I was a baby. It took me several, like, you know, like quite a while into my adult years, at my advanced age. Okay, it took me through my 20s to figure out like that because I was really drawn to my female friends and like I wanted close relationships with other women, that there might be something more to it. And we've talked a lot about the fact that we feel like we had so much presented to us in the way of understanding who we were attracted to and what is attractive. Like we all have our own preferences, but I think we both at an early age understood that women are attracted to men, and that's it. Like
that's it.
That was how I understood it, and so I have to figure out who I'm attracted to. And so I started like drawing these lines, but I really, if I hadn't had that like societal pressure to think that, I don't think I would have come to that conclusion. Like I don't think I would have said like I only find men attractive, or I don't even know what I would have come up with.
Right. It's hard to imagine. And
but this is super important. The attraction that I had to men was real. It was a real experience. Like it's not like I look back on it now and I'm like, that was all fake. Like I was lying to myself. But I feel like I was operating with different like information. Like I didn't have all the information about myself yet. And so those experiences were very real and they were very valid, and I am grateful for them. And I wouldn't change it I don't think I would change it. I mean,
Yeah.
that would change a lot.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't, like, I don't want to take any of it back at all. But I just didn't, I don't think I knew, like, what my instinct would be. Because I don't think we're really in a society that we can have, like, instinct drive our decision making.
I
Like,
was gonna say, when do we follow our instincts generally?
I mean, I think we're taught not to.
And how do we even
Why
know
do
what
we-
they are? Yeah, and
Yeah,
how do we know
I can't even recognize them.
if they're instinct or if they're already clouded by what you've been raised to believe by society?
Yeah.
So I was thinking along that same train of thought with you and with other females growing up. I always thought that I was really interested in, like, muscular bodies, muscles. Is that a weird thing to say?
No?
We have those. If you've seen all of our videos, you know that there's
Like,
this art
right there.
of, like, half naked bodies, and male and female, that I've always loved staring at, because I was an athlete growing up, and I kind of thought that had something to do with it, but I loved staring at people's strong bodies, like both genders. And that was true when I was working with you. I remember thinking things like, her legs are really strong, and that's cool, and that's beautiful. And I still don't know. Well, no, I'm serious. Like, and I don't know if that was me putting a filter on my attraction to women and thinking that I had to categorize it differently.
Yeah.
But I still think that of men too. Like, I could see a male athlete on TV and not be able to stop staring at his, like, shoulder muscles because
Yeah.
they're so beautiful. And I don't know where that even falls, but it's like part of me being attracted to someone, I guess.
Yeah.
That's one thing that I like about you.
Thanks.
I'm allowed to say that. She's super muscular. She's so fit, and I've always admired that about her. And seriously, so when we were friends and I looked at you and was thinking that about your body, that's kind of an intimate thing to be thinking about a friend.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like that's... Yeah, I think I thought the same thing. I wouldn't say that I have, like, a general attraction to, like... Well, maybe I do. I think athletes are dope. Like, I love looking at athletes.
Cheers to athletes with great muscles.
I love watching sports in general,
Yeah,
so...
that's true. They're conflated.
I think they're just connected. But when I would think those things, and I'd be like, wow, like, Hannah's, like, shoulders are super strong, which they are. She's a gymnast. I would be like, stop it, like, turn that off, like, don't, like, what are you doing? That's, like, she's your friend.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't allow that to happen, and I think that was, like, me, like, policing, like, around attraction, and what I had come to understand was, like, true, and what should be true for me, because I considered myself straight, and I thought, like, I can't be attracted to a friend if I'm straight.
Yeah.
Not realizing that, like, yeah, you can. Like,
You totally can.
You can be whatever you, just, like, be whatever you are, and it doesn't have to dictate, like, what decisions you make in your life. We make decisions on who we want to spend our life with for, like, so many different reasons.
Yeah.
And who we want to be in a relationship and who we want to spend our time with, and all that stuff. We make those decisions for so many different reasons, and being attracted to someone who you didn't anticipate being attracted to doesn't have to, like, deconstruct all of that. In my case, it was just like the tip of the iceberg. And it turned out that was something that I wanted to, like, figure out more, and so I spent more time thinking about it, and it turned into a relationship for us. But I don't think that it necessarily means that if you're attracted to someone you didn't think you were attracted to for whatever reason, or you didn't think you would be attracted to for whatever reason, I don't think that has to dictate, like, how you categorize or how you see yourself.
Identify.
Yeah, identify.
I was thinking about that with you. I think Sadie's a little bit of a unicorn for me, because I was already attracted to you, thought she was beautiful, but then I've realized, I've caught myself thinking that sometimes when she does something, if I come home and she has already made me dinner, or if she cleans the whole bathroom and doesn't say anything, like, you know, the love languages, if she shows those in a really big way, I find myself becoming more and more attracted to her from things that are like entirely non-sexual or like entirely unrelated, which it's weird to think of, like, oh my god, like those calendars of like men doing household chores.
Oh my god, I was just thinking, is this why like people say that Mr. Clean is attractive? And he's like a cartoon?
Because he's creepy. Is that a little creepy? Like,
well, no, I don't think
not
so.
creepy. No, but I mean, yeah, it's like kind of weird.
Yeah.
Because he just cleans.
Yes, it's weird because he's a cartoon.
Yeah. Because it's like the idea that someone doing something nice is like a turn on.
I think and it like represents like, back to the personality thing, I think it represents like personality traits or character, or like characteristics of someone, that they're like thoughtful, they're kind, they're generous. Like, it could be like any number of those things, and like when we associate those with attractiveness, like those positive characteristics that we would want to have in a partner or want a partner to have, whatever that person is, like, that represents those things, like, suddenly becomes more attractive to us.
Like, Mr. Clean is like kind of a hot dude already. He's got like big muscles. What if Mr. Clean was just like a little string bean? I shouldn't say that.
I was wondering where I was going to stop.
Nothing wrong with being a string bean. What if I was not traditionally attracted to Mr. Clean, but because he cleaned, I was attracted to him? That's the thought experiment. We can cut all of this.
I mean,
yeah.
I don't know. Mr. Clean's a hot dude.
/ if there were a calendar of like just ripped athletes, like doing mean things.
Oh, doing mean things.
What's a mean? Littering. Like lighting a building on fire. Like a match. I was gonna light a building on fire.
What's the meanest thing you can think of? Lighting a building on fire.
And littering.
And littering. Yes.
Okay. I have bad examples, but I've gotten carried away.
Pushing a little kid off a slide. It's funny because I feel like you can't think of anything that has to do with people because it's like, over the line, I can't say that. Mean. Kicking a dog. No!
Yeah, okay. Good point.
I mean, they do have like lots of calendars of like firemen with kittens.
Yeah.
It's like because it's like this big, strong, muscular dude with like his shirt off, and then it's like a tender, like very gentle man. Like, yeah, sensitive, in touch with his feminine side. Like, I think that those things are so. It's like wow, like this is so much better than just hot dudes, because it's hot dudes that are being gentle and like tender.
Oh my gosh, I feel like we could have like 7 episodes on masculinity, like toxic masculinity, and like being in touch with your feminine side in general. So maybe we can leave that for another day, but oh my gosh. The idea of someone being attracted to the feminine qualities in a man while asking that he still be a big tough man, it's so funny. The idea of trying to present your gender in the most attractive way, like to fit the way society has told us to be most attractive, is like impossible and not real. So then, if your own presentation isn't real, then how can your own attraction be real?
You're just attracted to how someone's performing gender.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, like we do a pretty good job at questioning, recently at least, like how women are supposed to look and how men are supposed to look. I've seen a lot of really cool advertising based around like real bodies, like real women. Have you heard that hashtag?
Yeah. I think that things are getting better.
Agreed.
I would say they're a far cry from even like tolerable.
Okay. Agreed. I was too generous, but point being, we've kind of started playing around with the idea of what is beautiful, but we rarely talk about it from the other perspective, I guess, is all I'm saying.
What is not attractive and what is not beautiful?
or the fact that we might be attracted to something that is not beautiful.
Ah, okay, got it. Interesting. Yeah.
We'll probably come back to this.
I'm sure we will. But one more thing. We were watching an episode of The Office last night, and it was the episode where they are having an office-wide debate about whether Hilary Swank is hot or not.
Mm-hmm.
And listening to their debate points about whether she's hot it was like a lot of this was like swirling around in my brain, because they're kind of parsing out like hotness and like general attractiveness, and they were kind of dividing it along the lines of like somebody who is generally good looking or generally attractive versus someone that you are personally attracted to.
Yes.
And it was super interesting. I think it's like hugely problematic in so many ways, as is many of the conversations that happen on that show, but as are many of the conversations that happen on that show. But it did get me thinking about this topic. Just like your personal attraction. Trying to figure out like, what do I feel like I'm drawn to, and how do I want to spend my time, and what like the pieces of a relationship that I want to have that are like consistent on the day-to-day. Those things, I was like, I don't know, I have really strong female friendships. Like I could see myself spending all my free time with one. I got one.
It's me.
Yeah, we've gotten a lot of comments, like Hannah was saying, we've gotten a lot of comments and questions about sexuality. What does it mean that you're bi?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what does it mean? Like, Sadie, how do you navigate like being with someone who's bi? And all of those like different kind of wonderings, which are super interesting to think about.
Mm-hmm.
And just to answer those questions real quick, I don't think about the fact that Hannah is bi as it relates to me, only as it relates to her. Like, it's her sexuality. She gets to decide that. She has decided that she wants to be with me, and I don't question that. It's not something that I like worry about or get jealous about or anything.
We've explained to people before, being bi does not mean that I need to be with a man and a woman, like, at all times. It means that I think I could be happy with either, and I'm happy with Sadie. So I don't have, like, part of me that's unfulfilled. Like, that's not, it's not like halvesies, like, half of me
is happy and
is
half
happy.
of her is, like, unfulfilled.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that there are other expressions of being bi, but that's kind of what it feels like for me.
Yeah.
I don't mean to discount anyone who would feel differently.
No, and I think like there are like infinite expressions of being straight as well. Yeah. So I think we will likely come back to this topic. I think it's a huge topic, as evidenced by our wandering conversation.
I know, I'm sorry if that didn't make a lot of sense. I feel like I got too excited and then it just got out of hand.
It was very fun though. We'll probably come back to this. So if there's something that we touched on that you want us to talk about more, or questions that you have, or things that you're thinking about that you would want to hear our perspective on, or general wonderings,
let us know.
Drop them in the comments below. If you're new to our channel, consider subscribing. There's a little button down there in the corner. It says subscribe. There's also a big red button down below. And if you hit the little bell, you'll get a notification when we put a new video up. And yeah.
So, one final disclaimer, just so that we hammer it home. We're accepting of all of our listeners and everyone in the world. Basically, you can have whatever gender expression you want and sexual identity that you want. Do your thing.
Yeah.
You're cool the way you are. We love you for it.
Do it.
Do it to it. Yeah. On that note, see you next time. Bye.
I feel like you can't put that in there.